Hello, today I will be demonstrating the first part of how to make this drop stitch ruffle infinity scarf. I will be using Red Heart Boutique sachet ruffle type yarn. You can use the other brands as well. Some of them are not quite as, don't have the holes quite as big as the sachet, but in this part I will show you how to do the drop stitch section of the scarf, and then in parts 2 I will show you how to make the ruffle side, and then part 3 will be how to connect the two pieces, the two ends together, and bind it off. For this scarf you will need a large gauge scarf loom, long loom, rake, whatever you want to call it. Today I'm going to be using the Martha Stewart set with the two U-shaped pieces with the 12 hole straight pieces on each side to connect them. And I'm using the large pegs in every other hole. I've got 6 on one side and 6 on the other. Even though we're not double knitting, we will need to use for the drop stitch section, for the yarn overs, we will need the other side, and then for the ruffles, to get ruffles on both sides of the scarf, we will need both sides of the long looms. You can also use the Nifty Knitter or Boy scarf looms, which are large gauge, or any other large gauge loom. Now then, I have also got these two green ones. They are just holding my loom together to keep the ends from popping off. And you will also need your handy dandy loom tool. Now then, to start, to do the drop stitch section, we will need to use our sachet yarn as bulky yarn, just like this. We will not unfold it until we get to the ruffle part. So you just keep it like this. Go ahead, make yourself a slip knot. I am going to use my back peg as my anchor. And then I'm going to E-wrap cast on. If you have a question about how to make a slip knot, there are other videos out there. This is just a demonstration on how to get this done. So we are going to do an E-wrap cast on. So you bring it to the front and you wrap each peg. The rest of the knitting is not done in E-wrap. It will be done in flat knit. Okay, now then, we have got our E-wrap cast on done. Push those down. Now then, our first row 1 is knit. So, like I said, just a flat knit. Keeping your tension loose. You don't want your stitches to be tight because of the way this yarn is done. And you will be pulling on it later, which will kind of tighten up your stitches, but just keep them even. So bring it around and you will knit row 1. Sometimes, especially once you get to this end one that was your first one, it will be tighter than the rest of them, which will make it a little bit trickier to get over. There. And I always push my stitch to the back. Now then, row 2 is purl. If you have any questions on doing a flat knit or a purl stitch, there are other videos that you can watch. Bring it off, loop it over, pull it, but don't pull it too tight. This is the part, and I will tell you that in parts 2 and 3, the scarf is a different color because I got part 1 done, got part 2 done, got part 3 done, got the scarf finished. Then I discovered that part 1 was too long. So I'm having to redo it. And so this is a different color from the rest of it. And because I had to make a mad dash to Walmart last night to buy me some more sachet, because that was my last ball of sachet yarn. And then we can continue to purl the 5th one and the 6th one. Now then, this one is our fun row. Row 3 is the drop stitch row. Row 3 is a knit row, so you will knit one and then yarn over. And to do that, we will knit the first one, and this is where we use the long looms to help us with the nice yarn over. And to yarn over, and in my first written pattern, I didn't clarify. I just put a YO, so that is for yarn over. And all you will do is once you knit, you will take that working yarn to the back, just loop it around in a nice U, bring it back to that front peg, the second one, and you will knit. And once again, keeping your tension nice and loose, and yarn over to the back. And then you will knit, yarn over, and then knit. And anytime you need to pause and rewind, pull some more yarn out of our skein, then please feel free to. That's the wonderful thing about YouTube videos. You can pause, rewind, start it over. Okay. Knit, yarn over. Your 6th one, you will knit. You will still need to yarn over this one as well. Keep it loose. You will yarn over. Oh, before you yarn over, you will need to take that off. Well, you wouldn't necessarily have to, but we'll go ahead and take your slip knot off. Make it easier to see. Yarn over. Just so you've got your working yarn here. You will bring it back for row 4 to purl. Sometimes I have found that working with the yarn this way is tricky because your hook never goes where it's supposed to. It gets caught up in the little hooks. Just be patient with it. And then pull. See, and then once you got that first purl, then you've got all your yarn overs on your back loop, on your back pegs, loops on the back pegs. And then you will just purl row 4. Just leave those on there for now until you secure your stitches with your purls. And if you are looking for my written pattern, if you don't already have it, I have the link in the description to my blog, stringtheoryfiberworks.blogspot.com, and you will find the written pattern there. I converted this pattern from a needle knit pattern that actually originated on YouTube, and then made it into an infinity style scarf. So there, we have purled the last one. That is the end of row 4. All the purls. So you're back at your starting peg. You got your yarn overs. Now you will take those yarn overs off. Just pull them off. But my suggestion on keeping everything nice and even is don't pull your yarn over stitches out yet. Now we will repeat rows 1 through 4, but so we will have a little tip for you after the row 2 repeat. So let's start row 1 again. So it's just knit. Knit straight across. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then row 2 is a purl. And whenever you get to the end of row 2, then we are going to tighten everything up. I would recommend doing that after each row 2 repeat to the end so that you can tighten up your stitches. You want to keep your stitches loose while you're knitting them, but then you will tighten them up after the row 2 repeat and pull out the drop stitches. There's 2. There's 3. There's 5. I can't even count. My degree in math is failing me. Can't even basically count. And there's 6. Okay, that's the end of row 2. So now we're going to pull this down out of the bottom. You can go ahead and pull out your slip knot, and you're going to pull it tight. You're going to pull on these stitches at the bottom of your drop stitches. Pull out your drop stitches, keeping and then pulling this row down here nice and tight. And there you go. And that way, if you do it after your row 2 repeat, each time you do your repeat, then it will, because it's with these stitches still being on the loom, they're right there. It makes it easier to pull them tight. Now then, back to row 3. One more repeat. Well, I'll show you. Go ahead and go through the repeat again. So we knit row 3. So we knit 1, yarn over. On row 3, knit 1, yarn over the back. Knit 2, yarn over the back, knit 3, yarn over the back, knit 4, yarn over the back, and knit 5, yarn over the back, and knit 6, yarn over. Now then, repeat row 4. We've got purl all the way across. Purl 1. Now then, once you get this done, you do the initial 4 rows, and then you will repeat rows 1 through 4 10 times to get the length that is in my pattern. If you do it that way, then one skein will make one scarf, and your drop stitch side and your ruffle side is right about the same length, so that you can just drape it across your neck and it hangs evenly on both sides. If you want to make it longer, feel free to do so. It will take more than one skein. You will just need to add extra repeats on your drop stitch, and then just match your ruffle side to your drop stitch side. And then purl. And then there it is, the end of row 4. End of row 4, you remove your yarn overs from row 3, and then you will repeat, and then after row 2, you will pull them out, so that at the end of your initial you've got your first 4 rows, and then you repeat 10 times, so you do your rows 1 through 4 11 times, so you will have 11 drop stitch sections. And then I will pick up in video 2, part 2, on how to do the ruffle side. In part 3, we'll be finishing it off. Have a good day.